Okie dokie. It's live in a pre-stream setting right now. You'll see how this works. All kinds of new things changed and set up. All right, well, we're just going to get this rolling here little by little. Pull it all together, got to have the pre-stream music, the usual. Set the mood and the tone for the show. We'll see how many people show up. Who knows? I could get a ton. I could get none. I do have a couple of other unique problems that I deal with here. Well, semi-unique. Working on a new setup for OBS and how it all pulls together. Let's see. Doom to doom. How about that? That works. All right. Excellent. That piece works. That piece works. We'll see what we get going here, folks. Trying to leave myself a little room here to see the add-on pieces, such as, the chat window. Trying to organize my screens and other things just a little bit better. Weird to have me say that. All right. We're almost there. Let's go check on these things here. Making sure we have...
Squirrel!
Uh-oh. Sounds are in the wrong place. There we go. Let's bring that back. See?
Squirrel!
That's the way it's supposed to work. That's what we need. Make sure it's all flowing to the right channels. Make sure that that's all working, and that was the other. Check on this.
Squirrel!
Yep, that seems to be working. Right. As we pull it in, if there's anybody out there listening in Never Never Land or YouTube land, who knows? We'll see what we get. Should be a good show, though. We got a lot different, a whole new layout for those that are used to listening to the show. And we are coming down to the wire, so let's have a little music, carry us right up to showtime.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress plugins A to Z, not Z.
WordPress, the king of content management systems, powering the web with over 80,000 plugins to choose from. How do you sort the junk from the gems? Welcome to WP Plugins A to Z, where we've been keeping the pulse of WordPress alive for over 16 incredible years. Join us every week for an unrehearsed, real talk breakdowns of the latest and greatest plugins, developer and community member interviews. Some weeks, Amber and I team up to dig in. Others, I'm flying solo, unpacking WordPress news, demoing a standout plugin, or sharing tips to power up your site. No scripts, no fluff, just the good stuff from A to Z. So plug in and let's get rolling. Oh, I just blew everything. I had my mic muted throughout the entire time. That blew the whole bloody thing. I've got to go back and redo. We'll just call that a practice cut for the intro for everything because I need to have it properly all done up. So we'll come back and redo all of that. Let's wind back down here, folks. And, we'll just hit the rewind button and do it all over again as I work through the kinks. There's nobody here watching me anyway, so it's all good. All right, let's stop that and take it all the way back to square one. La-di-dee, la-di-da. There we go. Back to square one. All right, let's wind this puppy back up and away we go. And they're off.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress plugins A to Z, not Z.
In today's show, we have new plugin reviews, news tips, plugin extras, and more, all coming up on Plugin Pulse, WP Plugins A to Z Unplugged. WordPress, the king of content management systems, powering the web with over 80,000 plugins to choose from. How do you sort the junk from the gems? Welcome to WP Plugins A to Z, where we've been keeping the pulse of WordPress alive for over 16 incredible years. Join us every week for an unrehearsed, real talk breakdowns of the latest and greatest plugins, developer and community member interviews. Some weeks, Amber and I team up to dig in. Others, I'm flying solo, unpacking WordPress news, demoing a standout plugin, or sharing tips to power up your site. No scripts, no fluff, just the good stuff from A to Z. So plug in and let's get rolling. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the brewery overlooking beautiful southern Vancouver Island. I'm John Overall. And today's show is Plugin Pulse, WP Plugins A to Z Unplugged. And it's going to be a bit of a different show because today I'm flying solo. This is what happens when I don't have an interview, and it's the off week for doing a show with Amber. So with all of that being said, this show is a little different than usual. It is going to be including things such as news bites for the week, a deep plugin interview or review, which is what I'm going to be doing today, and more news bites, tips, and other bits and pieces as I figure out how to bring together this new format for the show. So hopefully everyone listening sticks, holds, and enjoys the show. All right. Let's get this going and moving right along. First thing off the bat, we've got a couple of news bites for you just to talk about a few things. First item here is Google is now wanting to subscribe to your marketing emails. So, of course, they can send you more relevant ads and other miscellaneous stuff. What? Am I dropping in and out? The pinging. Ignore that, folks. I'm just going to ignore this. I can't read all of that and keep my brain running at the same time. It just does not work. So anyway, Google is going to be subscribing to your marketing emails to find content for your search listings. And this would be, I believe, from my half understanding of this, I've read this article a couple of times and I didn't quite get it. Is it either you're sending your marketing emails to Gmail, or they're going to take the marketing emails that you already get? I'm not entirely certain about it, but one way or another, Google is adding more information to providing you marketing materials or providing you Google searches, etc. All of that. Another one up we got for you here is, get rid of some of this stuff here. Next item up here is Google Maps is brainwashing us. Well, brainwashing the others out there. And what they mean by that is Google Maps, by making their random changes, they're slowly causing people to, well, basically they're gaslighting them. You know, like such as the recent changes of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America and reverting Mount Denai to Mount McKinley, you know, and then Google's going in and deleting all the nasty comments that say, you know, explaining why this isn't necessary or other miscellaneous things along the line. You know, what this is doing is it's causing people to do less thinking on their own. What they're basically doing is, you know, they're depending on their maps. They're no longer remembering stuff. Their phone remembers it for them, or Google Map remembers it for them. And if Google Maps changes it, they don't realize it's been changed because they forgot that it was another way. So this is an interesting article talking about how technology is stripping away the cognitive process of human beings. Something you may want to go check out. Very interesting one here. Another article here, just one quickly on SEO struggles or Google Ads struggles, and Google's response to a comprehensive Performance Max campaign reports. Now, Performance Max campaigns are very useful in some ways if you're running Google Ads, and in other ways, not necessary. The problem is that there's not always a lot of control in data. They've started to give more control and data in them. I know that from having used them. But it is an interesting article, and you might want to dig down into the report here if you're using Google ad campaigns. And of course, everyone's favorite thing now, dealing with AI and the AI search results for Google. Google AI is so smart, it fell for an April Fool's prank story and presented it as real news in their Search AI information. And what it was an April Fool's prank from, what was the, shoot. Now, I just, this is a whole different story. This was a story here where somebody had canceled something, and Google AI presented it as fact, and it wasn't. It was, you know, it looks like this is a whole nother story. I thought it was the same story. I must have saved a different story at the same time. All right, so at any rate, the point being is that Google AI can't tell the difference between a April Fool's prank and a real prank because a well-written April Fool's prank post is so good, it actually nails a lot of people with intelligence. So you can't depend on the AI, folks. It is not perfect. So keep that in mind when you're wandering through everything. All of that being done, you know what? I don't have, actually, do I? I might. Let's see. Yes, I do. There we go. All right. What we've got here, we've got a plugin deep dive. This is going to go on for a little bit. I'm going to do my best to describe it very clearly for those listening on the downloads of this. You want to see how this is working, you will have to pop over to the YouTube channel and check it all out. And for those on the YouTube channel watching, I hope you enjoy this. Now, this one here, I'm going to be diving into a new plugin that I recently created for handling spam and other enhancements in Gravity Forms. Now, this plugin came about to solve a problem for a client, and it was dealing with spam. Now, there are dozens of ways to handle form spam submissions. The first one is CAPTCHAs, the second, or reCAPTCHAs. The second one is honeypots. Then there's plugins to pick out keywords and others. There's AI for it. The list goes on and on and on for stopping the spammers. There's blocking, all kinds of miscellaneous things. All kinds of miscellaneous things in there for that. So what we've got going here is this one here was created because while I have CAPTCHA, reCAPTCHA, and other things in place, what happens is that there are dedicated humans out there who are bound to determine to submit spam forms, which require hitting the reCAPTCHA, which from my understanding is bots can't do that yet. Maybe they can. Maybe the new AIs, which are manipulating things, can do that. I'm not sure. But the thing is that we're looking at ways to stop this. So this plugin is available over at WPPlugins A to Z.com. And not WP plugins, WPPro A to Z.com. And you can go find a plugin here over on our site, and it's easily available with multiples of our other plugins that are available right now. I think I've got 4 going right now, and more in the queue. So you can go download it from there. It's a free plugin at the moment. Eventually I'll be charging for it as I move further and further along the lines of developing of it. Once you install it and activate it in the normal fashion for all WordPress plugins, you'll find it right next to Gravity Forms in your Gravity Forms. It does require that you have Gravity Forms installed. If you're not using Gravity Forms, this plugin's not for you. It's Gravity Forms WPPro Bulk. Oh, that's the Bulk Delete. Sorry, I want the Enhanced Tools. The Bulk Delete's a whole nother plugin. Sorry, the Enhanced Tools from WPPro for WPPro A to Z. Now this plugin here, how it was created and what it was created for was to stop spam and to prevent and to stop and to validate domains either by blocking or sending them off into Never Never Land. So what we've got, once you go to the settings page, which you can find under Settings, GF Enhanced Tools, you will find on the settings page the domain validator and minimum character settings. So what this one does for you is another form of spam that started hitting on the forms I'm trying to protect is they just started putting in one-word answers into the message block and into the name block and other things. They were very short, couple of characters long. So I added in a function a couple of days ago for this to set that up. Now, the first thing you want is the email domain validator, and you either enable it or disable it. You go choose your forms right here that are available, however many forms you have, and then you map the fields that you want for those forms. And it actually brings it up and allows you to map the fields for each individual form, so they don't overlap in case you have multiple forms with different email or different field IDs, etc. in here. So it's like your name might not always be 1, email might not always be 2, comments might not always be 3. So you can choose whichever fields you want. There's some pretty complex Gravity Forms created. The validation mode you're going to set up here is either you ban the domains or you limit. Now, the reason I created the limit version of it was this is something that if you want a form to be only submissible to particular domains, like if you're building out, say, an intranet for a company or something or yourself, and only the people with email addresses at your domain can create an email, can answer the form, you can limit that form to specifically those email addresses, or bulk ban them. You can start banning things like test.com or @.ru, just you keep going along the line. It's like you can just go ban whole level domains, top domains. RU is a big one to just ban the whole .ru one, unless of course you do business with Russia. The validation message is something you can set here. This is a custom message. The default one here is, oh no, your email account is not eligible for this form. Or you can opt to hide the validation message so that the form fails silently, so they don't even get a warning that the form has failed. The next item down is the character length setting. And this is used for setting the character length. Why is it doing that? That's weird. Okay. This is for setting the character lengths for your form or for your fields such as the comments. We do have a note here that you select more of the forms in their fields. Email fields are used for domain banning and allowing. Text fields are used to enforce minimum character length if enabled below. Now, the interesting thing is this does not apply to the name field, which is different than the comments field, which is a line of text or a paragraph of text. I'm working to refine it down better so it's more refined as to what it does and doesn't do. I may look at seeing how I can split that out. So you can set your minimum character length and figure out what your minimum character length is you want to submit. You can set 24 characters, 50, 100, 200, 1,000 characters, whatever you want to ensure that people type out before the form can be submitted. This helps eliminate those hello, goodbye, ASFDF, JKHI. It eliminates that kind of junk to it. The other one, now this one is a unique method that I came up with, and using AI to help me create this form, we helped refine this down. It's a spam filter and predictor. And what this predictor does is it predicts spam terms that are in emails. So you can see them in multiple different types of emails which have similar spam terms. I mean, this whole thing started out because I started creating a block list of terms that was being used. So the predictor, we'll discuss that more in a little bit, but the filter is the first one. What we do with the filter here is we use the WordPress disallowed comment key block. This is hardly ever used anymore in WordPress. And oops, we need to get that mouse up. Click. Okay, that's not going to mouse up. Did I get that even set up for it? Let's find out here. Okay, we got to stop here for a second here because I got to go find something. There we go. There we go. I need to bring up here, this is under the settings discussion block, which nobody uses anymore because hardly anyone turns on comments on their website. They're very rare. But the comment keys block was something that was used by WordPress for a very long time to prevent spammy comments. So what we've done is we've tied this plugin to use that block. You can enter the spam terms right here, and then it's automatically put over into discussion block. Now, they stay there permanently at the moment. I'm working on a way to be able to remove comment blocks or others if you enter them here so that they're not there. That's coming in a future upgrade for the plugin. So once you enter these, they end up staying here, and they help you deal with all of the things, such as things like delivering glasses for free, Ethereum, Blackspurt Cant, Zenemail, chatbot, free shipping. All of these things are obvious spam terms of people entering your form. They're not generally things you want in your form, unless it's a form that people are asking about free shipping. But generally you don't have too many of those things. So you put your terms in there, and you put one term per line, and then you would end up saving it. The other thing we've got here is the spam predictor. Now, what this spam predictor does is this looks at past spammed emails. Now, if you've got Gravity Forms, your Gravity Forms keeps track of all your messages, and you get them all here, and it keeps track of your spammed ones. It looks in here at the spammed messages and determines if there's spam terms in here, which can then be put into your site to help protect it. Now, how that works, we'll show you that in a moment. That's on another tab of information. Now, you can also do a predictor threshold of how often these terms appear before they are determined to be spam. The default setting is 3, but I'm realizing that that's a little too low as I've been testing things. A default setting of 6 seems to be more relevant to protect them. You can keep going up and up. Once you've got all those changes done, you just hit Save Changes, and boom, it's all saved and ready for you to go. The next tab over is the spam terms. Now, these are the spam terms from the predictor. And again, here you have to set up what form and field mapping you're going to try and protect with this particular plugin or a particular segment of the plugin. If you've turned on, back on the other one, you also have to turn on and off the spam filter. If you don't turn the spam filter on, it won't work. So just keep that in mind. It's default to off. So you have to go in, configure it, and turn it on. Now, once you got that, once you set your form up, you can just save the settings here. Now, what you get a little further down below is you can add your own specific terms or phrases that you find, and then you can set it to a particular form ID it's appearing on, and then you can set the initial frequency of it from any number up to, I haven't tested the height limit of it, but I do have them up to 27. Now, I have been working on a couple of things in here that it doesn't do now. It's like, initially, I forgot to deal with common terms like you, your, and, to, just common phrases. And this is in my test site. So it had picked up the word your. So any email that has the word your in it will automatically get spammed. So and you can see the frequency here, it's tagged at 27 times throughout all the emails. So we're going to delete out that one individual term from it. I have it set so each individual term can be deleted or set. I also have it, it's got my email address, my test email address spamming. I want to have my test email not as spam. Okay, we got that out of there. And a little further down, we've got some bulk actions. I am refining these bulk actions. They're not fully refined yet, but they will be refined as time goes on. You can bulk action remove from a specific form, such as a form ID by your form ID number, or you can bulk delete the terms. In other words, you can just terminate them all. If you don't set a form ID, it will just terminate them all. The bulk cleanup one here, this deletes them depending on their frequency. The other one is update historical spam terms. Now, when you set this one up, this goes through and it pulls everything. Now, I haven't got this set up so where you can determine whether or not to pull them only from level 5 and above. Right now, it pulls them all the way from level 1 and up. And it pulls out some interior ones, some interesting ones like get interior, interior painting. Those are obviously spam terms. Lead me like me will only. Yeah, that's an interesting spam term. So you end up with a whole bunch of stuff like this if you do that. And all of these ones will be too low for your form to be effective. You'll end up spamming out a lot of good terms. So what has to happen here, unfortunately, and you can see it's a pretty long list as we scroll right down that list. It's massive. It just pulls out everything it thinks is a spam term. So what we're going to do is we're going to go clean that up. And the easy way to do that is the bulk cleanup. We're going to set minimum frequency to 2. We're going to hit bulk cleanup. So what it'll do is it'll remove every term that is below 2. So, and you can see what's happened here. They were all 1s. So what we're left with is we're left with 5s. So this is a very useful tool. Once I get it refined even further, I think it's going to be a very useful and helpful tool to do that. Now that's interesting. Why did it not stay set? something reset on me. Don't know what caused that. So that'll be a bug I will have to work into and see where it's going. Now, the final piece on this plugin here is the documentation tab. And this is to tell you how to use the plugin, all the information on what it does and all the different bits and pieces. So bringing this together, it is a very useful plugin. And what we're going to do is we're going to go run a couple of quick tests so that you can see the spam that gets through and the unread messages that get through. So test form, I forget which form is. Oh, okay. So test form 2 is on the front page of the site. I actually have a spam trap here at the moment for the site. This is my sandbox site, open to the public to wander around, people look at, see what I'm doing at any given point in time. It's where I throw my test plugins up, etc. So what I'm going to do here is I've collected some information from some spammy submissions that I've gotten over time. We're going to throw that into the comments block here. We're just going to use my quick, simple solution for Johnny Tester and then hit submit. And then it goes here. The email field. Oh, it's brought the email field. This must be 55 characters long. Okay, so that bug is not working correctly. Okay, it's not supposed to check the email field. So I've got to make sure it gives an exception to that. So we'll change that down to 12. And then we will be able to do that. There we go. Now we'll hit submit. There we go. We hit submit on it. Now when it goes into here, we go look at the submissions for it. And that one there looks like it went straight to spam. And it did because some of the terms in that test jumbo came from a spammy that are already in my spam terms that are saved. So this helps you work along the line here. Any folks out there that find this and want to test it, hey, let me know. I'm more than happy to dig down deeper into it, and we're more than happy to take additional information on it. So at any rate, that is the rundown and test of enhanced tools for Gravity Forms, and more is coming down the line. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to wander out for a second and just a bit of a talk on this segment here is what I'm going to do coming into the future only with other plugins as they come to my attention or ones that I want to work. And I will be doing in-depth setups, usability of the plugins, and I will end up cutting out that information specifically for training videos. So helps me do double duty with all the different miscellaneous things that I want to get accomplished with this show. And I will eventually get these things accomplished with the show. All right. Now we do have a chunk up here that is some additional Google ads, or additional Google ads, additional news bites. Additional news bites, such as an article here for Google ads for small towns. Is it worth it? This is an interesting article suggesting that Google ads might not be very viable for you with populations under 50,000. At that point there, you're not struggling with as many competitors. And in a small population like that, people tend to know people. So it is an interesting article on whether you'd consider something like that. Another article on how bold AI marketers can win in an AI-dominated playing field. Now, this brings me to a certain point about AI and the fact that, yes, I use AI to help me pull together this plugin, but not so much so that AI came up with the ideas and is directing it. I'm directing it. I came up with the ideas. The AI is used for making sure my code is clean, making sure and doing all the typing, because my typing skills, I could never type it. This plugin started out as like a 75 lines of code plugin. It's now at close to 3,000 lines of code for the plugin. And it's broken out into different subfiles and folders and all kinds of documentation created. And the AI helps you create your documentation too when you're done, which is a very important thing, because if you don't have documentation, your plugin's absolutely useless to anyone but you. You'll never be able to sell it. You'll never be able to give it away because they'll look at it. I looked at a plugin today. Someone recommended off on Twitter, and I went over their GitHub and looked at it. It's like, okay, there's the plugin code. But as I'm reading the code, like, how does it work? Okay, so in the code, it needs to call upon this file here, this text file, but yet you don't have a copy of this text file with the code for the plugin. So, and then you have no instructions to tell people how to set this up and where to ensure the plugin file or the text file is so the plugin actually works. So it's like you must come together and pull all that information together for people. Otherwise, it's just useless. So the AI field, yeah, there's stuff out there. There's a website. You can go create a WordPress plugin by pumping in some stuff. It's probably worthwhile for someone who wants to throw together a quick plugin. It's $20 a month. It can create several plugins. I don't remember the number on it. You can create a bunch of plugins, all the information. It packages it up, gives you everything you need, and you're good to go. But you still came up with the idea. The AI wrote it, and it may or may not have wrote it correctly, which is something to say, oh, it just works. Well, I've found that AI will occasionally make typing mistakes or errors. Rendering errors is what the AI calls it. It'll also sometimes fix one thing and break another. I saw a great meme on that one today was, what's the coding program everyone's using? And it goes, showing people with a piece of tape on something, patching a small hole, peel the tape off, and you peel away a whole nother layer of paint. So this is what happens. AI is going to help us and help us make things faster and easier, but it's not going to be the ultimate replacement that everyone is. In the end, you still have to have some understanding of the code because you can't make it. One of the interesting ones I saw was the guy out there making apps or working on an app, and he was complaining. It's like, oh, well, my app's working, but all of a sudden I'm getting a massive bill for certain usage through my API key, and because he didn't understand how to protect the API key in the app, it was being hammered in multiple ways. So it's like there's lots of things that the AI might not be aware of when you're doing it, or it might take the simplest route to accomplish something, which the simplest route is often the less secure route. And if you've been around the internet long enough, you know that in the beginning, it was very easy, but it was very insecure. And we've had to layer level upon level upon level of security, which has made it more and more complex to get where you're going. There's an article on keyword stuffing for Google Ads campaigns, why you don't want to do it. PPC industry, divided over performance max, another article to the same one I talked about at the beginning. And that. And we're going to wrap this up since I've been going at this for almost half an hour, which isn't too bad for a single show, which I prepared for. But of course, it never goes as smoothly as my brain thinks it's going to go. Next time around, I will get even better at this. Maybe I should just do a practice show and then come back and do the real show, because then I'll have figured out everything I need to do. Which is, why when you go see a theater play, they've been practicing. But this is live to tape, so it's more fun that way. All right, the final thing I've got here is the wildcard segment, and this wildcard segment will have any number of different things in it. And those number of different things may be, I suddenly spotted a plugin I want everyone to know about. It might be another interesting deep dive article. It could be talking to somebody or something. Even if those out there want to send in short snippets, audio or text or contacts to us to have things said here, feel free. Contact us up. There is contact information on the website for reaching out to us in multiple ways. So what I've got for you today is I ran across a really cool plugin from someone called Poodle Plugins. And of all places, I found it in Reddit, which, Reddit sometimes has useful information. And it's a stock message for WooCommerce. And, right one? Actually, I think it's the wrong one. He's got a couple of cool plugins. No, it is. It's the wrong plugin. I chose the wrong plugin from his site. stock message from WooCommerce is not the one I wanted. The one I wanted was this one called WP Dev Flag. Now, I've been considering writing something like this, but I'm not going to now because why? Somebody else has written it. I just got to download it and install it. And what it does for you is when you're working with a live site and a dev site, which hopefully you are, because if you don't have a live site and a dev site, you're definitely doing it wrong. The problem is if you're not paying close attention, you don't have something like this, what happens is you can be doing something on what you think is the dev site and you're on your live site because the URLs are usually similar, such as, dev.wppro A to Z.com versus WPPro A to Z.com. Everything else is identical. The back end is identical. And if you get in the groove, it's easy. And you've got multiple tabs up in your browser, which, any developer has anywhere from 20 to 400 tabs open, give or take. I think I'm probably sitting at about 25 now. So you just click because when it gets short, you only see the beginning or you see the icon for the tabs. You click, and if you don't double check the URL, you got wrong. But this one here puts a nice big red flag in the back end to tell you you're on the dev site. And I thought that was kind of cool. It's got the ability to go in and configure the background color, the text color, the message text that you want on it. What the trigger options are for it. Development environment, your link options for it. Link behavior of your flag, where it wants to go. You could use that flag to click off to Google if you go there regularly. So this is a really cool plugin, and I thought I would bring it to here as our wildcard segment for today. And that'll be where I'm going to call this one because I greatly appreciate those that showed up. I saw quite a few people popped in and out of the live show. So I might have been boring or scrambled. Who knows why people came and go. But anyway, go check this one out. His website is linked in the show notes along with the link to the plugin. I'll put this plugin into the show notes because this is the one we really wanted. We didn't want the other one. But he does have a couple of plugins here. A custom empty price tag for WooCommerce, WP custom author URL. And then he's got the stock message for WooCommerce. So other than that, it's all looking really good, and we've got a few things here. So let me know, folks, if the new version of the show works for you, and of course, I'll be refining it as time goes along, and we will see how it happens. Some of my other things are working pretty well here with my changes, and popping different things up and allowing you to use more of the screens on my computer for all the stuff I'm doing now. All right, with all that being said, I'm going to let our girl take us out of here. This extra here will be re-recorded, and we'll pop back after the extra just so we can have some music for those on the YouTubes that are used to it.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at WPPluginsA to Z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to WPPluginsA to Z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using WPPluginsA to Z.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA to Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
Alrighty then. Well, only gonna be here for a few seconds and then just some music, just so I can close everything out in nice, smooth format, and it feels like it is all organized, even though it was a cluster. You know.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
Alrighty, folks, that's all we got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Oh my god, that is amazing!
Oh no. Obviously we just lost the satellite feed. That's